I think some of you are having your midterm for this week, right?
Yes, me.
Yes. Okay. So good luck for those who are having midterm. Um, um, think by this week and next week, by next week. Just wait. Um, you have 23 now. Right. Yes, Assalamualaikum. Good morning. So for today's day, we are on chapter 3. Okay, cost estimation. And as all know, this chapter 3 are also covered in your midterm, right? So yesterday we did discuss some uh, arrangement lah, because we have 3 groups, right? For software project management, 3 classes, and we try to have to discuss in terms of the arrangement, especially since this is our first, say first semester that 100% we are going to have uh, in terms of online classes, right? And also tests and even the final later, okay, final exam. So for the midterm, I will announce also in the WhatsApp group later that we will have the midterm on next week. Okay, next week I can't remember the date. On Wednesday class next week. So it will be on 25th. Okay, Wednesday 25th, same schedule as during the class lah, which is on 9 a.m. on 25th. So yesterday as well, we had discussing in terms of the question how to, especially on the implementation side lah, meaning that how to conduct the midterm. So fully we're still trying to 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 see what are the best way on conducting the test. So I would say that by Monday lah, I will explain in terms of that. Because we try to see which option that we have the best for the student and also for us lah, management, right? So we have 24 now. So that is on the midterm. So further announcement will be later lah. Okay, once we have confirmed in terms of those things lah. So for today, I'm still covering on chapter 3 and share my slides. Sharing the screen now. Sorry, different class. This one. Right. On cost estimation, I did mention before that we have this one. Before I explain on the Kokomo, okay, this is actually the what we call project management body of knowledge. It's a standard, and actually this standard is mainly on the project management. What I have here, actually what I showed to you here is that one of the I would say chapters in project management body of knowledge, which is project cost management. And costing is one of the important pillars in the managing the project. And that's why we also referred to this particular standard, and it contains the chapters that we covered in the class especially. Okay, so on the project management itself, also very specific in terms of the how to manage the project in terms of budget or costing. Okay, so what we have here possibly in terms of explanation, and you can refer later. I will upload this one in the Putra Blast for your references. Okay. And then in the chapters, actually, we focus on the cost estimation. And but instead in here, they are not specifically what method or model can be used for the cost estimation. It possibly giving in terms of general estimation. So I'll try to join. Right. So I will continue on the related model, okay, for the cost estimation. And Kokomo is one of it. Okay, Kokomo is one of it. And what we have here is the one that if you refer to the tools, usually they have those model as well. Within the tools, a matter of as a user for that particular cost estimation tool, you will have your own model you want to use. Okay. For now, maybe you didn't see you cannot see the in terms of the flexibility of your input for all data in the cost estimation tool. But later, even I already mentioned to you that you need to find the tools for your own project. Yeah, you can from any existing tool. Okay. On the cost estimation, and specifically for the cost Kokomo costing, constructive Kokomo stand for constructive cost modeling. Okay, and on the Kokomo itself, if we go for the previous slide, okay, if you notice, our calculation is very straightforward, right? Using that as particular estimation, let's say how much cost for one line of code, for example, for the line of code, and also in terms of how 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 much cost for the for the burden cost in terms of the salary, and from there you can have in terms of cost of the project, and also in terms of what we call it, person month, the effort. Okay, so it's very straightforward. Okay, and your estimation, you have flexibility in terms of to justify in terms of the information domain value, how many line of code for each of the specific domain values. Okay. Okay, so you should do your revision later on that. Okay, so on Kokomo 2 here, they are considering as well that with this particular diagram, I like to show you here this one, which is the estimation possibly will be more accurate to the real cost once you are moving from one activity towards the end of the project, towards the end of the project. Meaning that feasibility, for example, possibly you are not clear enough in certain costs involved for the project, but when you move more forward to the other activities, you will find that it will be more clear for your estimation. Okay, because some of the activities will have been allocated on that particular cost. Okay, saya kena admit. I have to admit now. Okay, that's why I'm asking you to come early. Okay, to join early. Right. With that, so what we consider now is that in reality that we may have a sort of estimation, which is by considering other elements or factors that we already know, or those factors are the factor on the costing are different between one project to another. Okay, so in terms of that, Kokomo 2 indicate in terms of the estimation, which is to consider what are the say what are the stage, or in certain situation actually that particular project are in, or included. Okay, so with that estimation, then Kokomo to highlight that these four models, okay, these four models, which is either application composition model, early design model, reuse model, and post architecture model. Okay, why I'm saying that it refers to the activity. For example, on early design model, because it's considered that in terms of the initial effort estimated based on system requirement and design option. So on the system requirement, basically at early stage of the project. Okay, and another one, okay, the last one here, post architecture model, development effort based on system design specification. If design specification is uh, I mean, after the system requirement, okay, then on that post architecture model means that if your project are towards on the architecture or design, then you use this um, model for your cost estimation. Okay, so um, previously I said that usually cost estimation done earlier of the project, means that even before the project started. But for this particular model, usually uh, um, it means that cost estimation, it doesn't mean that only you can do at early of the project, but still project ongoing also you can do the estimation. Okay, in terms of revising the costing, do some adjustment, and that one is what we call controlling in terms of budgeting or costing. Okay, and other than that two models, another one is this one, application composition model, which is if the system developed using dynamic language or database programming and other things. Okay, so this one usually where application point at certain way that you are using the existing, or maybe you are conducting a one that already is more in terms of, I would say, uh, composed from existing part, meaning that it comes from combination, or even I would say in terms of some of the part is already available, and then it will be reducing in terms of effort for the development. Okay, effort on the development side. Another one, okay, four, already mentioned three, and another one is the reuse model. Okay, effort to integrate. This one is more relate in terms of component base, meaning that there are already available components, and those components can be integrated within the system that you are um, developing. Okay, and in certain way there are some effort needed in terms of integration between the available components within that development. Okay, so for these four submodels in Kokomo, then it comes with check. It comes with uh, particular mathematical formulas lah, formulas. Yeah. Stop. Okay. Okay. Inilah bila some of you are joining late. Ada lagi tak? Supposed to have another 2. Right. So that is in terms of the submodels included in cost estimation for the COCOMO 2. Okay, for the COCOMO 2. Now, for each of the submodel, like here, application composition model, the first one, it will the criteria, I would say, the criteria in terms of to consider what is this is about. On the application composition model, for example, like on the prototyping project. Okay, do you know what is prototyping, class?
Yes.
What is prototyping? I don't know. Right.
Making a test model.
Making the test model. That one will be the one that prototyping is the things that I would say a sample lah, right?
Yeah.
I have a model, I have a prototype, which is to show to the end user, and from there, okay, to get some feedback from the user or the customer, and then you do modification until the customer are satisfied, right? For example, time on your user interface, okay, put in the design, the layout. Maybe some company, they already have their own template, right? But in the way of how to modify or how to suit with that particular application, then at the end, they agree, and then from there you you possibly prototype is two types of prototypes, right? Throw away and also evolutionary. So it depends. Okay, if throw away meaning that those prototype is not used, but you are creating a new one, which is that prototype will be the base for your development. And but evolutionary, that is the prototype. That one also can use for your development later. Okay, so an application composition model support prototype project and project where there is extensive reuse. Okay, possibly you have existing prototype and then you modify from that, or in terms of if company are in the say concentrating business on the same domain, possibly there are reusable components or things that can be used for that new project. Okay, so based on standard estimate of developer productivity in application points, okay, or months. So estimation, of course, still there is some estimation. Okay, for example, estimation on certain how many developer productivity being estimated by that particular project, and usually based on the experience from other projects as well. Okay, so case 2, if you are using case 2, okay, meaning that this that also can be included in that particular development. Okay, so for application composition model, okay, this is the formulas. Okay, project person month, okay, person month, which is the effort, represent the effort, equal to number of application point, okay, which is estimated by the developer. Okay, so 1 minus percent of reuse divided by 100, and all that divided by productivity. So this is basically the formulas for the estimation in terms of the effort needed for that particular project, if you are considering your project is under application composition model. Okay. Second one, early design model. early design model, okay, made after the requirement have been agreed. Okay, if the project, all right, maybe at earlier project you have some estimate value for the cost, but when you move on to the requirement, up to requirement, and then you want to revise, possibly you want to revise the costing, okay, based on the requirement. Okay, so the formulas, which is, if this formula, I think you already seen in the previous slide, okay, which is A multiplied by size power of B multiplied by M. Okay, so in this estimation using early design model, still on the person month, is that there are certain values for that particular um, um, we call particular value for that multiplier and all that. Okay, and then for this one, multiplier is the things that we as a developer also do some estimation. Okay, later in the tools, possibly later you can look on the factors. Okay, usually some tool they use they mention as factors. Okay, but for this particular model they call it multiplier, and these multiplier are the factors influencing the costing. Okay, can be in terms of the resources, which is the people, can be resources in terms of technology and other things. Maybe later I will show you what are the multipliers. Yeah, this is a list of multipliers, and those multipliers can be like here we list out 7, and this 7 actually can be also have some sub factors lah, we call. Okay, sub factors, which is we the developer have to put in based on the criteria of each of the factors lah. Okay, on the multiplier. Okay, so early design model, this is more this is more detailed because it's considered in terms of like A, in terms of the calibration, in terms of uh, which is um, the formula itself 2.94 for A is actually being set by that particular model, because that is the value that being studied for that particular model lah. So it's a static value. And what are different? What's the difference is that when you are estimating the line of code, okay, based on that particular project, and the line of code here should be expressed in KLOC. Is K is 4,000. Okay, so in thousand, the value in thousand. For example, so if the if the project, let's say the estimated line of code is 10,000, so in thousand means that is 10. Okay, so that is the one that a bit not confused, but this is the nature of the model. Okay, you have to convert the line of code into thousand, value of thousand. Okay, and B is that it depends on the type of project. Lagi ni mak masuk. Okay, Taufik baru masuk. Okay, another one. So, mana lagi ni saya? We have 31 in the class. Okay. Boleh ke kelas? Yang this, boleh tak? Can you follow this one? This is important in terms of to understand on the costing. Okay, of course lah, kita we are not stressing on the in terms of calculate. Of course we are asking you on the calculation, but the this in way of to understand better on the model side, so that you better understand in terms of dia punya apa factors of the criteria or factors included in the for the calculation. Um, so B, okay, size power of B, size power of B. Okay, so for the B value, it will be from 1.1 to 1.24. Okay, so it depends on the novelty of the project. And then development flexibility, risk management approaches, and process maturity. So usually this value also given to you. But the thing is the size. Okay. So usually the size, for example, okay. Now I want to ask you how to calculate the size in terms of 1,000 line of code. Okay. I go back. Let's say this one. Okay. For this one, okay, estimated line of code is 33,200. If we convert to 1,000 line of code, what's the value for size? Class, you know? Class? Anyone?
I don't know how to calculate this.
Nah, very simple. Okay, hold on. Semester dah. No, not that. Okay, okay. Converting line of code to KLOC. Class? Very simple actually, but you need to understand on this so that later when you answer your midterm, you're not confusing lah. Okay, because sometimes we give to you the line of code, size line of code. Okay, okay. Let's say total line of code, like say 22,000. Okay, so in 1,000 line of code, okay, so in 1,000 line of code, K is 1,000, right? So how you want to spell out in 1,000 line of code for this one? Apa tak? Boleh? Anyone?
First, divide by 1,000. LOC, the LOC to K.
Yeah. So how? LOC 22. Okay, very straightforward, right? Let's say 22,300. Then it will be
22.3.
yeah 22.3. Very straightforward. Okay. Why this is being, because that particular model they want you to express in 1,000 line of code. Okay, so very simple. Right? So divided by 1,000. Then you get the value, right? So let's say 44,000, okay, 500. Okay, so it will be 44.5.
44.5.
So don't confuse in terms, if we give to you in line of code, you have to convert into 1,000 line of code. Okay, that is in terms of that that formula on the early design model. Okay, so other values, okay, will be given to you, or it will be like okay, estimation for A, of course, given to you. Okay, and also for the B, usually given to you as well. Okay, so what you have to consider now is on the 1000 line of code, right? And that is on A size power of B. Okay, so usually on size power of B, you need to have your calculator. I'm not sure. I never use a scientific calculator in this my phone. Can we use that one for the scientific? Boleh tak class? Any way? Do you have experience using calculator and for the scientific one? I never use it. I use just a simple calculation, but you can check later if you can use your. Huh? Sorry?
Landscape kan? Landscape.
Landscape kan? Ni,
Ah,
landscape kan apa?
calculator tu. Handphone lah,
Kat mana nak
handphone.
landscape? Macam mana nak landscape?
How are you going to do
Auto-rotate
this?
dia.
You are given a few
Auto-rotate.
Auto-rotate.
important points here.
Rotate
First,
boleh
the size
Macam.
of the project.
Apa tu? You record my. Mana auto rotate? Okay. Oh, then keluar ni Okay. So boleh, you can use your handphone lah for the calculation. But if you need the handphone lah later. But if the instruction you don't have to use the calculator, then it's okay. Right? But later when you use for exercise later, you can use this one. Right. So now done with the A and B. Okay. Size also in kilo, in thousand, KLOC. Okay. Another one is multiplier M, and multipliers here is represent the initial there is on the product, okay, the platform, the personnel, required schedule, and also team the people, okay, people. And on the platform is basically on the technology, okay, and on this multiplier is 7, and also in Kokomo 2 they have 17 multipliers. So if you use any tool later, your multiplier possibly can be more, okay, not only this 7, the value for each of the multiplier, okay. And if you use the tool, you are the user, and then you have to put in the value based on your own estimation, okay. And those value actually represent certain indication, certain indication. I can put now, better for me to explain, right? Okay, for the post architecture 17. So for the early design only 7. Okay. So this is the multipliers that contribute to the early design model. So meaning that if for this example they have 7, meaning that your n value you have to put in those you have to multiply all those values here. Okay. So meaning that all those values here you have to multiply and then you get the m. Okay, m for this one. Okay, m for this one. That is in terms of early design model. So for the third one, reuse model. Okay, reuse model is when you consider in terms of you have advantage in terms of certain components available for your development, and with that also they are considering in terms of the productivity, which is productivity can be higher because you already have available component, and in certain way the effort also can reduce, and then at the same time the person effort person month for the effort also can be reduced. So in terms of that, reuse model is take into account black box code that is a reuse without change and code that has to be adapted to integrate. Okay, meaning you already have the components. The matter of now, the effort for this particular model they are considering effort in terms of integrating. Okay, effort by the developer in terms of integrating that particular components that already available for the development. Okay. Okay. So two versions here, either black box reuse or white box reuse. Okay. So black box reuse where code is not modified and effort estimate is computed, which is for the modification. Okay, certain integration. White box reuse, code is modified, a size estimate equivalent to the number lines of new source code is computed that need to be generated. This then adjusts the size estimate for new code. Okay, so in terms of that, okay, black box much easier because just in terms of estimate effort in terms of integration. But if there is some modification in those components that you have to modify, okay, you have to go through inside the component, for example, that particular code, and then for that possibly the efforts are more higher, okay, because need to do adjustment, okay, or modifying the code or creating a new code inside the components. Okay, so reuse model estimate. Okay, it include estimated line of code. Okay, generated. Okay, and also in terms of the productivity on integrating the codes. Okay, so there is things that should be considered. Okay, when code has to be understood and integrated, this is a second one just now. It will consider adaptation adjustment multiplier computed in changing the reuse code. Okay, so it depends on how many works or effort need to put in. Right? So it's if your I would say in terms of that, it's very important for you to understand when you are already have the requirement. Okay, because after the requirement, right? Meaning that reuse model just after we already clear about the requirements, and then from there, okay, there are available components, for example, that you can use for this particular development, and then from there, you just to estimate in terms of effort required for that particular development. Okay, so in certain way, you already reduce in terms of the effort, and then also can reduce in terms of the project cost. The last one is post-architecture level. So architecture level, if you go for the diagram, yeah, hold on. If you go for this diagram, architecture is moving. Okay, the reuse model or early design is under here. Okay, in between here. Okay, for now, we are on the post-architecture, this stage. And for this stage, okay, meaning that now we are more clear in terms of the costs involved. Okay, and with that, on the post-architecture model, okay, uses formulas, meaning that the formulas which is for this one, okay, the meaning for the formula is this one. It means that this one, okay, this one, okay, person month equal to A, size power of B, okay, and multiplier. And for the early design, the multiplier is 7, okay, but for the architecture, the post-architecture model, post architecture model, they are using 17. Okay, don't worry, you don't have to memorize that 17. What is 70? Okay, the idea is that what we can see is that okay, this multipliers, okay, involve the product, computer, personnel, and project attribute. Of course, they have in detail. That 17, it comes from these 4 categories. Okay, when you put the values, actually, it doesn't mean that you have to put all the values for that particular 17. If it's nominal, meaning that it doesn't affect, then you don't have to put in the value. Okay, for the estimation. Okay? Meaning that uh, so for the 17 just now, what we have is that okay, for this one, okay, right. Sure how to this one. I think there are certain explanation for this one. Exponent value size. So, right. Can we do the calculation using this formula? Okay, using formula, percent month equal to A size power of B and multiply by M. Okay, using this sample of calculation. I will leave this one first. I will explain later on this one. But this one is the how to do the estimation. Okay, the same formula just now. Okay, and using this one, okay, let's say DSR is line of code, yeah, class. DSR is line of code. So it means that in 1,000, it will be how many? 1,000 line of code? Class?
128.
128. Repeatedly.
128,000. So it means that 128 K LOC, right? And exponent value is 1.17. Okay, so without cost drivers is the one which is without multiply. Cost drivers here is the multiplier. Okay, and the list down here is actually the multipliers. Okay, reliability, complexity here is the multiplier. Okay, so now can you help me to calculate how much value for the M for the multipliers? How to get the multipliers from here? This information. I don't know the answer. I have to calculate as well. Okay, can we calculate together? So 1.39 multiplied by 1.3 multiply with 1.21 multiply with 1.12 and also multiply by 1.29. So how much you get your multiplier? M, the value of M?
3.16. Do this also. I mean, you
3.159. What I get?
here and try to do as until you get this answer.
All right. So so I get this one, 3.1. Okay, 3.1590115. Okay, so there's many numbers there after points, right? So for this one, that is the value of m. Okay. So initial COCOMO estimate without cost drivers is the one that your multiplier, the exponent value is the A. Okay, exponent value. Okay, 2.94. But for this early design, but for the post architecture, it will be giving you the exponent size. Exponent value is the B, right? Okay, so meaning that so 2.94. Apa tak buat? 2.94. Times by size is 1 to 8, and the exponent value is just now
1.17.
and exponent value. Exponent value is 1.17. Okay. So meaning that person month for the post architecture without cost driver is the multiplier. So how much you get? 1 to 8. So 1 to 8 power of 1.17. How much you get?
1.33485.
Okay. I use the Word document. So for now, okay, listen, we want for the post architecture without, okay, without the M, okay, which is the multiplier, cost drivers. Okay, cost drivers, which is PM equal to, okay, 2.94, right? Then multiply by 1 to 8, right? Okay, in 1000, and power of 1.17 exponent value. This is an exponent value. Power of lambatlah pula. What's the this one? This one. This one. Mana dia punya ni? Ya Allah, tak jumpa lah pula. Bear with me, class. Okay. Right. So what's the value? PM. What's the value, class?
858. So
58.4.
the size.
Okay. Tolong bagi tak jelas.
If you give me
858.58.
Tak yang tadi. Check. 730% initial, including factors of valuation requirement, volatility, exponent value. Okay, if you multiply, how to get this one? Let me check. 730. You're supposed to get 730. You get this answer? Dapat tak? Using the formula just now. Huh?
No.
Tak
It's
dapat kan?
85. Oh.
I'm not sure. Is there any things that they consider instead of that? Yeah, there's some. You need how to get the exponent value. This one to get exponent value. This is already this one. I'm sure first without cost driver. With the cost driver here, supposed to get that. Berapa tadi you get? Nantilah I check dulu yang ni. Alright, so on Monday I will explain on this one. Okay, they're supposed to. That's the idea. What we want to highlight here is class. The difference on the cost when we include the multiplier value. Okay, multiplier value because it can be high or low, and it give influence on the project costing. Okay. If I can show to you the table. There's a table which is you can refer in terms of the calculation and the value for that particular. Sekejap saya tunjuk dulu and then we continue next week. Okay, this one. Okay, you can see here, cost driver. There are listed here 17 multipliers, and these are the 4 factors mentioned just now, but some they are dividing into like here. I would say that it depends on the model that you are using inside the but Softstar is one of the system for the cost estimation. I think it's available. It is free, open source. And for this one, what I want to highlight now is that for each of the multipliers, you can see here the value. The value can be very low to extra high. Okay, and I did mention just now nominal, meaning that it doesn't affect the calculation, because when you multiply by 1.0, it doesn't affect your value, right? So nominal is considering is normal. It doesn't affect the costing. Okay, so it will be 1.0. So what we mentioned in the slide, the value which is either in the range of lower or higher from the nominal. Okay, very low up to extra high. Okay, so all this value, let's say here team cohesion. If you think that your team cohesion are not so tight or is not that close in terms of cohesiveness, then you consider as 1.5 very low. So all this estimation as well, the estimator have to consider lah, to know their multipliers either is high or low. Okay. So I think I stop that one. Hopefully on Monday I can explain later on this one lah. Nanti I think will be sometime that one. I refer balik. Okay. Right. So okay, we hold dulu this one. Later on Monday we can do I can explain later and then from there kita akan buat exercise sikit lah. So ini memang masuk ni. Ini famous question in your midterm. The other slide I think tak ada dah, tak banyak dah. So, yang lain very simple lah. Okay, so the method of later ada kokomotu tu I will explain. Okay, class ada soalan? Anything before we end up the class? You have class at 10?
Yes.
Okay. Siapa yang tak datang ni? 31. One absent. Student absent. Sekejap panggil nama. Maras.
Dr. Rani
Yes, Prof. Good morning.
Apa dia?
Rani absent.
Rani yang tak ada. Only
Good
Rani
morning,
ya? Okay then. Morning. Okay, please do